adolescent girls and the recommended dietary allowances, and if it is just by chance. Next one. So the results which were found in my study, starting with the age of the girls, the results were, I had, the next slide please. I had the subjects from 16 to 18 years of age group. So there were almost 40 girls from 16 years of age group, 39 from 17 and 21 from 18 years of age group. Next slide. The socio-demographic variables, including the type of family, educational status, their occupation, total family income, and the family size, the results are like this. Next one, please. Next one. So coming to the anthropometric measurements, the height and weight of the subjects. Next slide. The anthropometric measurements, starting with the height. This table indicates that the mean height of the girls is found to be less than the NCHS standards. The mean height of 16-year-old adolescent girl was 152.07 centimeters, and it was 6.17% less than the NCHS standards. Similarly, 17 years and 18 years also, 151.07 and 152.66 respectively from both the age groups, which was less as compared to the NCHS standards. Next one, please. The findings for the weight of adolescent girls, as you can see that from 16 years of age group, the mean weight was 44.77 kg, and 17 years of age group, it was 44.07 and 46.09 from 18 years of age group, whereas the NCHS standard says that it should be 53, 54 and 54.4 for the age group of 16, 17 and 18 years respectively. So the findings are that the weight was also less as compared to the NCHS standards. Next one, please. The findings for the BMI was calculated using the formula weight in kg upon height in meter square. So the findings of BMI was also like that. In underweight category, there were 8 subjects. In normal weight category, there were 85 students. And in overweight category, there were 5 adolescent girls. The next one, please. The hemoglobin level, as you can see from the slide, that the hemoglobin level were also low as compared to the normal levels of hemoglobin. For 16 years of age group, it was 10.27 gram per dl. 17, it was 10.55 gram per dl. And for 18 years, 10.28 gram per dl, whereas the normal hemoglobin levels for a female are 11.5 to 13 gram per deciliter of blood. So for all the 3 age groups, the hemoglobin findings were less than the standard levels. The next one, please. Now coming to the mean nutrient intake of the adolescent girls, which was the main, next slide please. The nutrient intake, as you can see from the slide, that the mean nutrient intake starting with energy was found to be 1504.17 kilocalorie, whereas recommended dietary allowances are 2500 kilocalorie for the age group of 16 to 18 years. Protein was also found low, 35.92, whereas recommended dietary allowances are 46 grams. The fat intake was found to be little higher, like 36 grams, whereas RDA is 35 grams. So just a 3.37% was excess. The intake of carbohydrate was 256 grams. Iron intake was 25.11 gram, whereas the recommended dietary allowances are 32 grams. The intake of calcium, phosphorus, sodium, potassium, vitamin A, vitamin C and folic acid, as you can see, each and every nutrient intake is deficit. So an average, as you can see from the slide, that except for fats, all the nutrients were deficit in the diets of 16 to 18 years of adolescent girls. So coming to the conclusion, the overall nutrition, next slide please. The overall nutritional status of the surveyed adolescent girls from north side of Nagpur is not very satisfactory. An average daily nutrient intake of adolescent girls was very less as compared to the RDA. The present study reveals a high incidence of undernutrition and dietary inadequacy in regards to energy, protein, iron and micronutrients. Next one please. Education should be provided about nutritive values of various foods and making healthy food choices. So a nutrition education program is a must for these adolescent girls. If given proper knowledge to develop attitudes and practice regarding nutritional intake and dietary practices, they can easily beat these problems. Next one, please. So this is the bibliography, the studies which I have referred for my study, for my survey. Next one. And the last one. So I thank you each and all of you for patiently listening to my study and my findings. Thank you all. If any questions are there, you're invited for the questions.
During your study, have you taken one parameter like what is the financial status of these girls?
Yes, yes. The economical status. I have presented the socio-economic status of the family. Can you please...
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Table number 2, sir. Socio-demographic.
And your recommendation for improvement of the nutrition status?
The recommendations, sir, I am taking a nutrition education program. Actually, I am teaching in Dayanan College. So I have taken the subjects from my own college, and actually my sample size is 800 subjects, 160 each from each zone of Nagpur city, from north, east, west, south and central Nagpur. So 160 students from each side. So I am giving a nutrition education program now. So this is before the nutrition education, and my findings are that these girls require a knowledge about nutrition, the nutritive value of foods, the food practices, so that they can improve their nutrient intake. So the girls from this college where I am teaching right now, they are in college, it's from North Nagpur, and they come from very low socioeconomic status actually. Yeah, this table number 2, sir. The socio-economic, table number 2. Before this, yeah. So this is table number 2, the data on socio-demographic variables. As you can see, the type of family is divided into nuclear joint educational status of their parents, both father and mother, and you can see that there are illiterate parents also, and few have done their graduation. And mostly they have left their education from primary or middle school or high school. So the education level is also not very satisfactory for the parents, and this ultimately affects the nutrition knowledge or the practices they follow at home regarding the food intake. The next one, sir. So this is their occupation, the parents, father and mother, and the total family income. Now 16 students, 16 subjects fall in the annual income, annual total family income of 50,000 to 1 lakh, and 74 subjects fall in 1 lakh to 2 lakh, and 10 subjects fall in 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs. So this is the annual income of the subjects, family income, including both fathers and mothers. Yeah. Any other questions, sir? Yeah.
All participants should note that they will be given 10 minutes and 2-minute discussion. So focus on your methodology, results and observation, whatever you want to say.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everybody. Yes. Yes. Yeah. No, sir. My study is like specifically on the girls. Yes, 800 adolescent girls, their dietary practices, their nutritional deficiencies, and then educating them for nutrition. So it's specifically for the girls. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonal ma'am. Next in line we have Dr. Palash Haldar. Dr. Palash Haldar. So he'll be given 10 minutes for the presentation and 2 minutes for the discussion.
Good morning, everybody. I am from West Bengal. My subject is Poundro participation in freedom struggle and the role in social reformation. Next slide. 3,000 years old inscription and shield, and this is the oldest stone inscription in India along with Asia, and this inscription commonly known as the Pod Nangol Lipi, Poundro Lipi by Sukumar Sen. Next. Ancient political map of Bengal, where Poundro spread in major parts of, and the later turned into dynasty Poundro Bardhan, which is now situated in Bengal, Bangladesh, and part of the West Bengal and Sundarban, Rajshahi district. Next. Dinajpur, also Dinajpur district. Next, Simanto Laskar Vidyabhushan, 1863 to 1907, is the first person who raised his voice against the Brahmanism through his book Jati Chandrika. Next. Pandit Beni Madhav Devhaldar, who is the first learned man in Poundro, who revolted against Brahminical society supremacy in every household rituals. And he is the first man who inaugurated the Poite Andolon. Next. That's enough. Good morning, everybody. Thank you to all our participants and judge to be present here. Thank you again. Any question? And this is the Dalit movement. This is all a Dalit movement. Dalit movement. Yeah, they are all a Dalit. These Poundro are also Dalit. And this is, we only, मैं 2-3 आदमी को दिया, मगर इस पे बाहर में बहुत आदमी थे, हाय, उसको नाम नहीं दे पाया, तो टाइम का थोड़ा शॉर्ट हो गया, उसलिए मैंने बोलने चाहता है, ये लोग के बारे, ये लोग अलग से दूसरा बहुत आदमी है जो लोग अभी इस आंदोलन में शामिल थे, वो हमारा कोई इतिहास में अभी तक नहीं लिखा. दिस इज द मेन प्रॉब्लम. हमारा इतिहास जो है ना, वो पार्ट हिस्ट्री, नॉट कंप्लीट हिस्ट्री, एंड दिस इज द ब्राह्मणिज्म हिस्ट्री, इट इज नॉट दलित हिस्ट्री. सो वी थिंक दैट हिस्ट्री अगेन, हमारा हिस्ट्री को लिखना चाहिए, नया तरीका से हिस्ट्री लिखना चाहिए. ये सब शुरुआत होता है, ये हमारा शुरुआत किया, मैंने शुरू किया उधर दलित मूवमेंट. ये दलित मूवमेंट का पार्ट ऑफ दिस पाउंडर मूवमेंट.
Thank you.
थैंक यू very much.
Next participant.
Hello. Next in line we have Ritambara Haldar. Okay.
Good morning, everyone presented here. I am Ritambara Haldar, postgraduated from English from Sanskrit College and University. Here I am presenting the Sundarban dacoits. My paper name is Understanding the Origin of the Sundarban dacoits from a socio-economic perspective. Next slide. So I have tried to define dacoity not as per the dictionary, but I have tried to analyze it by what is the cause of dacoity. So as civilization progressed, social inequality in society increased. Such long prevalent inequalities against certain groups wage a war by challenging the law. Society then terms them as dacoits, robbers, harmad, thuggy, and others. These dacoits forcefully rob to survive in this crony capitalist society. Next slide. The birth of Sundarban dacoits. In the pages of Puranas, composed during the period of 6th to 11th century CE, includes Bongo, present-day West Bengal, is called as the land of Mlechas. It means untouchables. At that period, Sundarban was a dense forest with no specific administration. During 13th to 16th century, the dacoits of Arakan, present-day Myanmar, known as Mogs, raided Sundarban. Gradually, the Feringis too raided the land delta. The Feringis are the Portuguese pirates who came here, and our women, they are the offspring of the Portuguese pirates. Another group of bandits of Turkish origin, known as Thugis, alliances with these Feringis, Mogs, and all together they are called Harmads. Next. Colonial rule evolutionizes the dacoity culture. The 1793 permanent settlement system led to absentee landlordism. The high land revenues for both zamindars and farmers urged them to opt dacoity. After the famines of 1943 and 70s in Bengal, the bandits harbored deep-rooted class hatred and animosity towards the rule of the foreigners. Soldiers to boatmen, everyone faced the same exploitation and suffered degeneration, therefore opted dacoity. Hence, religion, caste, and community did not pose a barrier in these acts of robbery, and the zamindars acted as catalysts in this case. Next slide. Factors that fueled to continue dacoity in Sundarban after independence. The island of Sundarban have been the place of refuge for the refugees and political and social offenders since a long, and Bangladesh refugees during the war of 1971 had created settlements for themselves in these areas to avoid persecution and repatriation. During the left rule of Bengal, the policy of Operation Borga benefited the people with lands, but they didn't have enough means of production. Due to the lack of employment opportunities in the region of Sundarban and the insecurity of human lives among the wild fauna, the struggle for survival was intense. Next slide. So in conclusion, now if we look back to analyze, we can see a class of people remains constant in this practice of robbery. These people are treated as others who are constantly suppressed and oppressed from the mainstream. In the land of Mlecha, which is known as Bengal, there where lived Shobor, Nishad, Kirat, find its mention in Puranas, were the indigenous people of Bengal as well as Sundarban. These people brought civilization in this land. But under the class supremacy, such ethnic groups are termed as Dalits or untouchables. Therefore, these groups robs to gain socio-economic equality. Sometimes such criminal activities are state-sponsored. Even after gaining the status of the environmental heritage site, Sundarban is still not free from dacoity culture due to the government negligency towards Dalits, minorities, Muslim, as well as Brahminical supremacy. Thus, the dacoits reveal the failures of the government system and questions its inclusivity. Instead of blaming the dacoits who had been ensuring quick justice to the people of this locality, as well as raiding their villages, it is high time for the political fronts to take action and create opportunities for rehabilitation. Thank you. This is the next slide. This is the reference. Next page. Thank you.
Okay, please elaborate little bit about the current status of such dacoits.
These dacoits are still present here. Recently, in the magazine of Aranyodut in our Sonarpur locality, a dacoit named Bachu Sardar, who used to do who's a well-known dacoit in Sundarban, is now a fisherman. And presently in 2014, in Times of India, there was a news about pirates who attacked some tourists. So they are still present in the Sundarban, and some opted different profession, and some remain still dacoits. And illegal weapons trading and due to the porous borders, they do these illegal jobs still now.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritamvara. Next we have Mr. Binod Sardar.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and my judge and my senior colleague and my friend. My oral presentation topic: insect pollinator diversity on two cucurbit gourds, Lupha cylindrica and Lupha acutangula, and my study work on the Gangetic Delta from Bengal. Cucurbit is the second largest crop family in the world. Now all crops are producing by the silent worker. They are pollinators, mainly 80% bees. In recent years, the Convention on Biological Diversity has recognized pollination as a key driver in the maintenance of biodiversity. Next. And ecosystem function. Pollination is a vital role for the production of food and seed, whether they are crops or natural vegetation. Therefore, pollination is the most crucial process in the life cycle plants, is essential for crop production and biodiversity conservation. Next. Cucurbitaceae is the second largest family, and the two crops I choose for my research work, Lupha cylindrica and Lupha acutangula. In Bengali, Lupha cylindrica is commonly known dhodol, and Lupha acutangula commonly known jhiya. In Marathi, we not know these vegetables what is name. The plants nature, the plants is the monoecious nature. Monoecious means the female and male flower are grown differently manner. Male and female flower segmentally different. And the pollination, what is pollination? The pollen grains from male flower carrying by the insect and go to the female flower are producing the fruit set. The entire process is known pollination. Cucurbitaceae family, Lupha species are monoecious. For this reason, pollinators must important for producing fruit set. My studies only the behavior of on this pollinator or insect. When they visit, when they pollination, what times, what temperature factor. This is the total observation factor. Here, some other cucurbit crops like melons, cucumber, watermelons, pumpkin. This is the very important food crops of cucurbit, and world export-import data here you must be seen. Lupha acutangula, this is not a vegetables. They are the reaping Lupha acutangula, jo fibrous. This is a very important trade component from India to abroad. Commonly grown major cucurbits in West Bengal. Cucumber, bitter gourd, bottle gourd, watermelon, pointed gourd, pumpkin, sweet gourd, sponge gourd, ridge gourd, snap melon, long melon, summer squash, winter squash, and ivory and ash goat. And in my lunch yesterday, some vegetables take one crop is cucumber beet. Significance of the study. Next. Okay. Significance of the study. Pollination is one of the nature's crucial ecosystem service for the continuation of life as presently known. Human beings have been concerned with pollination for millennia, but only after the advent of chemical agriculture and pesticidal effects. Mostly on honeybees, there was an ember. Actually, in crop fields, most chemical pesticides spread on their vegetable crops and agricultural field. And for this result, the good insect, their friend for the pollination, they are dead by the application of chemical pesticide. Pollination ecology, this is the, what is ecology? The interaction between plants and animal. Here, the cucumber beet crops, male flower and female flower pollinated silently different type of insect. We are term this insect is the pollinator, and pollinator are dead by the application of chemical pesticide. National importance. Certainly in agriculture system, bee husbandry is a crucial link in food and fiber production and sustainability. It has been estimated that 1 in the 3 bites of human food originates through insect pollination, and that about 80% of our food plant depend on benefit from insect pollination. Here 2 images, and here you must be seen in, this is the cucumber beet, Lupha acutungula, this is the night pollinators. Here the opening of the flower 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. and in evening time the insect, they are very nocturnal pollinators. This is the very top observation. Next, to establish the most important pollinators of cucumber beet vegetable crops in South 24 Parganas and to ascertain the economical value of pollination service these crops. And this image, in time to 9:30 p.m., one insect ant is the good nocturnal pollinator. There's the monomarium species. They pollinated on this flower, and the flower petal beneath one calyx को one crab है. This is the secret, the honey. They take the honey, and this time the pollens attach on the leg, and then when he visit the female flower, then pollinated the female flower. Methodology. The field study is to be next. The field study is to be carried out at the agricultural land of 24 Parganas, West Bengal. Insect visitors of cucurbitaceous plant flower will be collected by hand picking, sweeping the insect throughout the day at 2 early intervals and once a week for 5 continuous weeks of cucurbit flowering period among the different vegetables, mostly like Lupha cylindrica, Lupha acutungula, etc. Diurnal abundance of insect visitors in cucurbit flowers will be recorded from 5 selected plots, is 25 square feet area. Insect visitor will be identified from the Zoological Survey of India, Alipur, Calcutta. Palynological study of the plants will be done by Palibotany and Palynology Laboratory of Botany Department Institute. This is my lab. This is the study area, latitude and longitude. Next. This is my study area. Here the jo blue side here, this is the Bay of Bengal. Other jo delta here, this is the Sundarban. And jo pointing here, this is the study site on the Sundarban region. Next. Here, different types of pollinators pollinate the flowers, male and female flower. First picture, this is the big bee, Apis dorsata. They pollinate the female flower and male flower. This is Lupha acutungula. Second slide, जो पिक्चर है उसको एपिस फ्लोरिया है, एपिस डॉर्सटा है, एंड फ्लावर इज लूफा सिलेंड्रिका. एंड जो मॉथ है, एंड्स है, And last row जो है, this is the carpenter bee, Xylocopa. They pollinate the female flower. Here two types species. One species pollinate the nocturnal pollination, and one species pollinate the day pollination. Next. This is the nocturnal pollination. And in the observe in night, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. All time interval observed, and the insects catching and picturing the image. This is the very hard. Here, in nocturnal condition, mainly pollinate the female flower, ants, and some moths, and some different types of cockroach species. Cockroach is the good pollination in Lupha acutangula. Next. Here I count the different insect for their pollination and different family and order. Next. This is the graphical plot representation of the pollination different groups. Here Hymenoptera is the represent family of ant and bees, but Lepidoptera is the more for the Lupha species, because Lupha species open the flowering in nocturnal condition, and nocturnal condition moth is the very important pollinator. Here for the region Lepidoptera is the 72%. Lepidoptera represent the moth. This is the moth group is the Lepidoptera, and ants and bees groups is the Hymenoptera, others Coleoptera, Dictyoptera and Orthoptera.
Last 1 minute.
Huh? Oh, okay, thank you, sir. Here the abundance of the visiting different insect species of Lupha, particular species represent this data. Next. References. And thank you so much, sir. This is the Lupha acutangula, pollinate and take the honey in night condition, a diacamma ant species. Thank you. Joy Bhim, Joy Bharat.
Thank you. What is the difference between nectar and honey?
Nectar is the producing the flower. Honey is the producing by the bee. Nectar collect the bee and collect the pollen. And then pollen with nectar mixing and chewing and vomiting. Result is
Okay.
honey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next we have Kartik Mondal.
Good morning. Good morning to all of you. First of all, Okay, sir. I am starting.
What is your name?
Yeah. This is mine. Okay. Good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to convey my regards and my lots of pranam to Dr. Baba Sahib and Tathagat Gautam Buddha. And joy him to all of you, respected judges, researcher, and all the respected dignitaries. I am Karthik Mondal. Presently, I am working as an assistant professor in mathematics in a degree college, which is located in West Bengal, Bankura district, Pandit Raghunath Murmu Sriti Mahavidyalaya. And now I am going to present my work, my research work. Actually, my topic is mathematical model on carbon dioxide emission from solid, gaseous, and liquid fuels in India and its impact on Sundarban Island. Next slide, please. My total presentation can be classified into 8 parts, which are objectives, methodology, and a method of analysis, and gaseous fuel, liquid fuel, solid fuel, and summary and conclusion, and finally references. Next slide, please. First of all, I would like to explain the objectives of my study. My first objective of the study is to build a mathematical model on greenhouse emission, and to build a mathematical model on greenhouse gas in India. And especially I want to focus on emission of carbon dioxide from different sources. For example, solid, liquid, and gaseous, different types of fuels. And I would like to study the emission trend. That means the emission behavior of the different types of greenhouse gases. Especially, I want to concentrate here for carbon dioxide, the big emitter of temperature. And then I would like to analyze and highlight the negative impact of carbon dioxide emission on Sundarban Island. Actually, carbon dioxide emission is a big emitter of temperature, and in greenhouse effect, carbon dioxide have a leading role. And finally, want to predict the future status of carbon dioxide emission in India, and if we get emissional trend or emissional behavior of carbon dioxide, then we can predict our future status of carbon dioxide emission, and according to that, we can take the necessary steps in this direction. Next slide, please. And a method of analysis I have used here. First of all, I have tried to fit a suitable curve, and then I have tried to check the fitness of the goodness of fit of the suitable curve, and then I analyzed by some statistical tools like residual analysis and IROC. IROC is nothing but the instantaneous rate of change of the curve. And next slide, please. First, I considered here a polynomial, simple polynomial curve, a third-degree polynomial curve. Here, I considered here, let the polynomial curve is y equal to a0 plus a1 x plus a2 x square plus a3 x cube. This is nothing but the polynomial curve, and which can be represented as y equal to f of x, a function, a simple function. And then after the next step, I try to calculate the error, the associated with the equation y equal to f of x, which can be represented mathematically with the equation E equal to summation of this portion. This is the error sum square. And next, please. And if we differentiate the above equation y equal to f of x with respect to the constants a0, a1, a2, a3, that means I try to differentiate partially, and then...
Please focus on your work fast.
Okay. Okay, okay. All these are mathematical derivation. Next slide, please. Finally, we have got this estimated equation. This is a third-degree polynomial equation which can represent the real situation of carbon dioxide emission. And next, this is the all these are the statistical tools which assigns us the goodness of fit of the model, which can be written here: coefficient of determination and sum square of error, sum square of regression, etc. Next. And this is also another tool which can assure us that the chosen model or proposed model is very good in nature. This is called the adjusted R-square. Next. Actually, we have considered here two model, on each polynomial model and second on each exponential model. This is the general form of exponential model, which can be mathematically represented as y is equal to c into e to the power ax, where c is constant and a is also constant, and x is variable here. And where x represents the time, here actually year, x is equal to year, and y is equal to the amount of carbon dioxide emission. And next. This is the graphical representation of gaseous fuel. Actually, I have taken 54 years of emission data, carbon dioxide emission data, and then I have tried to graphically represented it by using some mathematical software, which is MATLAB used here. And if we see that the dotted points represent the real carbon dioxide emission data, and the fitted curve is here, which is approximately represented very well. This is for the gaseous fuel. Next. This is the model for exponential curve y equal to a into y equal to c into e to the power ax. This is the exponential representation of the curve for gaseous fuel. Next. Similar things I have done here for liquid fuel. Next. This is for exponential model. Next. And the same thing also done here for solid fuel. This is for exponential model. This is for third-degree polynomial model. And next. And this is for solid fuel for exponential model. Next. A summary and conclusion. Throughout my study, I seen here that the proposed model represent very well about the real situation or real position. And throughout the study, I have shown here that the carbon dioxide emission is increasing, and which is increasing like an exponential curve. And increasing pattern of carbon dioxide emission leads to global warming and climate change. Today we know that the climate change is a burning issue throughout the world, not only in India but also throughout the world. And carbon dioxide plays here a major role in this situation. So I tried to explain the role of carbon dioxide emission here. Next. The large scale of carbon dioxide emission raise temperature and sea level. We know that, especially with the residents of Sundarban, we see that the sea level is rising day by day. And besides the sea level rise and erosion, so many islands of Sundarban are growing underwater day by day. I also know that some sinking islands are there. For example, Ghodamara Island is a sinking island in Sundarban, where it was, if we see that before 30 years, its area was 4.8 kilometers, and today, if we see that the area of Ghodamara Island is about 50% decreases. And similarly, besides the sea level rise and temperature increasing of temperature, there are also another issue is oceanic acidification. Due to the increasing pattern of carbon dioxide emission, the oceanic acidification also increasing day by day. Next slide. So please, next slide. Next slide. And climatic change and different types of hazards like cyclonic storm and devastating Sundarban. Today, the resident of Sundarban are already well known that some storm and cyclonic storm are happening day by each and every day. For example, you know that the Amphan. Amphan also natural calamity which devastated Sundarban very badly. Last conclusion I can mention here that my proposed model I also used here only for carbon dioxide emission, and it can be used for the other greenhouse gases emission, so that we can understand the pattern of emission of carbon dioxide, methane, etc. And using this model, we can predict in future, in near future, after 30 years or 50 years, what will be the position of carbon dioxide emission. We can measure by this model, and using this model, we can take some preventive measures in future. Next. There are some references which I have used in my study. And next. And thank you all. Thank you for listening me.
Okay. Thank you.
So if you have any question? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, sure. And we cannot predict the anthropogenic activity. Sure, sir. Yes, sir. Can you model with us? You do not know what is the intention of the human being. You know, Ukraine war, lot of carbon dioxide, other things are coming. Yes. So, under that unpredictable environment situation, can you model us? Sir, actually, I have to check the data, original data, and after analyzing the data, we can say. Otherwise. Okay, sir. Actually, anthropogenic situation is different. So I cannot assure that this model can work or not.
But you can add one variable in it, huh?
Yes, sir.
In a material model, what you
Yeah.
do is that the things which are not seen, you can add as one of the variable, and that can become a very robust model. That is what sir is trying to.
Yeah. Sure, sir. I have to check it, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Pankaj Tati.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good morning. I am the Pankaj Kumar Tanti, coming from West Bengal. Now I service in University of Calcutta and genetics department library in charge. And I taking from Calcutta University all qualification, BLib SC, MLib SC, and MPhil. and then now registration in PhD in Library and Information Science. And now I want to present the topic Information Sources and Services in the Diamond Harbour subdivision area. This is the South 24th Pargana area in West Bengal. I want to see that the Diamond Harbour subdivision area is the 9 blocks, which actually 3 blocks, Mathurapur 1, Mathurapur 2, which is the consist of Sundarban region, and then is the Mandir Bazar block, 3 blocks. Actually, I want to survey the total areas in 15 years and above the Mandir, which is situated in Shiv Mandir, and then there are local areas, there are rural areas, there are so many libraries up there, and there are local published books and journals, which publics are the read and their knowledge development. Actually, I want to see that there are so many information are gathering from the actually library. Library is the actually community development information center, by which process the villagers, and so many people are there, and retired persons, and school teachers, and different types of cultivator, and rural people, they collect their knowledge from the library. So library is the very important center, because library is the people university, because they are the villagers people are not take the good qualification from the university, but they want to try to take their knowledge from the library. So library is the very important place of these local people. So now I want to in just introduction, that's the next slide. This is the map of South 24th Parganas, and this side is the Diamond Harbour subdivision, and then Baripur subdivision, and Canning, and there are Kakdeep subdivision, 4 subdivisions, which is the Kakdeep subdivisions is the only 4 blocks, Kakdeep, Namkhana, Pathor Pratima, Sagor. All blocks are the Sundarban region. And then I want to study the Diamond Harbour subdivision, which is 9 blocks. 9 blocks, only 2 blocks, Mathurapur 1 and Mathurapur blocks, 2 blocks is the Sundarban region. And then Baraipur subdivision, 3 blocks, Kultoli, Joynagar 1, Joynagar 2, 3 blocks is the Sundarban region. And then Canning, 4 blocks is the Sundarban region. The total South 24th Pargana, 13 blocks of the Sundarban region. Next slide. Introduction. The study depicts the pictures of about the information sources and services of the Diamond Harbour subdivision areas of South 24th Pargana districts, and there are the brief explanation about the present education status, folk culture, folk sports, and so many peoples are used there, so many things, which is not valuable for the prizes. They easily maintain their folk culture, folk sports, and everything. And next, please. This is a statement of the problem. This type of works not done before, as it is very much useful for the information seeker of the Diamond Harbour subdivision area. I want to accumulate handy tools. Very easily they search their information, not published in the everywhere. But in 17th All India Livestock Census data I will follow, and the Census Report 2001, and private collection, the local Sahityik education, so many respected person collect their survey basis. Next, please. Objective of the study. The information sources and services of local area are very important traditional knowledge which help the general people, just I discussed before. Next slide. Objective, then next slide, there's so many already discussed, and next slide. And scope of this coverage. To describe total Diamond Harbour subdivision, which consists of the Diamond Harbour sub-municipality and blocks, and on discussed blocks, Mandir Bazar, Mathurapur 1 and Mathurapur 2, and life history of the local respected person. Very essential information. All persons, they work in different places, but not publish their record of the local history. The local history collection is the very important part of the library. Library also collect the local history and they preserve. And preservation and conservation very essential part of the library. And then books and journals published of these areas and old mandir 50 years and above. Just I discussed the old mandir, there are so many local people, their mandir and local just goddess, their monsas and so many people that their own capacity. Their goddess, the prime, and next please. Methodology. Just data collection will be done by the questionnaires and survey method. The main primary data were the collect through the interview method just discussed before. And next slide. Next. Various types of information source, because documentary sources, there are the three types: primary source of information, secondary source of information, and tertiary source. Primary source of information, they collect the people from the primary source, different types of interview methods. And secondary source also we are note that the printed materials. There are books, journals, there are secondary sources, and tertiary sources is the bibliography of bibliographies, and so many tertiary encyclopedias. And non-documentary sources, that are human source, very essential part of the society. Institutional sources, this is just the library, also the local and NGOs, and the BDO office is the very important center where the people collect their so many activities and so many information, mass media and audio visuals and so many. Next slide. Literature review. Just review of literature, part of the dissertation of this convey of the type of the related works previously done. Its literature reviews some works of the directly related with the topic of some works are indirectly related with the topic. Next slide. Next. Chapter, last one. Historical background of the South 24 Parganas. The historical background, 24 Parganas when the situated in the Mughal period, and then so many historical places, and just 20 Parganas are gifted to the British rulers of their Jamindar. And there are 1754, in 1754, the Mr. James Rennell was the first appointed of this work. And next slide. 24 Parganas, the very important name, Akbarpur, Amirpur, there are so many dolins and dastabez, they collected the local people. This name is the 24 Parganas, Medan Mallo, different types of names, and they are situated already there. And then 1758 to 1758, these are William Franklin, and then 1759 to 1759, the East India Company, and lastly the 1774 to 75, after the death of the Lord Clives, the administrative of 24 Parganas was under the rules of the East India Company. Next slide. This is the first blocks in the Mandir Bazar blocks. In the blocks survey, there are so many mandirs and they are published books, and already I before discussed. Next slide. The population respect of the male and females, there are total population 18,300, 1,18,333, and the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, they are classified, and their Mandir Bazar blocks, their total population, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, so many something, and there are the 30% total, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. And next slide. Education systems of the Mandir Bazar blocks, secondary, lower secondary, higher secondary, there's so many institutions, a literacy rate, and then next slide. Mathurapur one. Mathurapur block is the one of the block of the Jamindar subdivision, which is the already I discussed the Sundarban region. Next. Population respect of this block. And next. Mathurapur 2. Mathurapur 2 is the same blocks which is the Sundarban region. Next. And shows the Mathurapur 2 blocks and their total scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, that all these educational system. Next. Mandir survey of the 3 blocks. Next. This is the total picture of the mandir, which is I want to personally collect their picture, and so many mandirs are there, which is the already 50, and so many mandirs are there 200 or 300 or 400 years ago situated. Next slide. Next. Okay. 3 total blocks compare, we want to say that table shows the 3 blocks, the total 16 Shiv temple. Because when the human beings are the developed, they are the cultivator. First time is the cultivator. And this cultivator also the try to goddess, the Shiva is the main goddess. This is the just, I want to say that this study, actually I want to say that Shiva is the actually local Shudros, Shudro, which means the Shudros, the lower caste, but not lower caste. This is the very easily simple people. They already, the goddess as the Shiv is the simple man's goddess. Just next slide. Comparison of the different goddess. And actually Radha Krishna, Kali and Basanti and Laukik Dev Devi, just Monosha, yes, so many people are goddess. But actually Shiva is the, out of total population, mainly the Shiva is the 60 to 70 to 80% people are the
Sir,
goddess.
last 1 minute.
Just a
Last.
next line, next. Conclusion actually. Conclusion. Okay. From analysis of the above data, it can be the source that the own publication in each of the block and also the source the educational population Mandir survey of the folk culture in the 3 blocks. Next slide. Next. Last sir. Recommendation. Just I want to suggestion that the government should have to arrange the awareness program for the local people about the increased reading habit and the important newspapers of the magazines. They collect the library, a very essential part of the, I want to suggest the government also take the necessary action. Thank you for your cooperation. Any questions?
What are the information resources you were able to generate data about that?
Information sources, sir, that so many information are in the local people or local people knowledge the acquire, but every people don't know. At one cultivator know the weather situation of this area, then the interview method, when we collect the information, if we store the preservation or local information, very important information sources. We collect from these people is a knowledgeable person, not published or their knowledge are available in the institutional source. But if we collect the...
You are able to collect that data?
Collect data from the survey method, but institutional sources are not available. Just there are the so people very easily they collect the information from this library. But librarian is the collection of the information from them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now we have to start next program. So presenters are requested to present their data within 5 minutes, their own data, and come to conclusion.
All the presenters are requested to present their data in 5 minutes, 2 minutes for question answers. Next we have Mr. Gopal Modhulkar.
Very good morning to all of you. My name is Gopal Mudhorkar. I am the research scholar from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, Raigad. My guide is Dr. Dhananjay Wagmare sir, and my topic is related to the numerical simulations of particular this IISSS 316 material. Okay, for that we are making the fiber laser welding, and in that millimicrometer, sub-millimeter micrometer. For that we are conducting the different what are the different parameters which will be affect on that particular welding, laser welding, and what are the results we are getting, particular the output, that is tensile or other weld width, that will be explained briefly in the particular this section. Okay, next slide. Next slide. a small introduction I will present. The welding is nothing but simply we can consider that is a fabrication techniques. In that we are mostly done the similar or dissimilar materials and we are joined that materials. In this particular this welding, there is a word permanent joint. Okay. Here I am using the permanent joint. That is nothing but the two atoms which are come together. The distance between the two atoms, that is mostly in the angstrom level, means 10 to the power of minus 10 level. That much of close we have to maintain that particular atoms, so that whatever the bonding in between this particular that material or in that atom, that is nothing but the permanent. Okay, we are not easily break that bonding. So that's why we are here mentioning this permanent joint. Okay, and this is nothing but the covalence of material produced either by different welding method. That is, we are using here heating, we are applying the pressure, or combination of these two. These three different methods we are generally used in the welding. Okay, I am here. Okay. Next slide. Next. Okay, particular about this laser welding. What is the general procedure or what is the working of this particular laser welding? Okay, here we can see the when this complete laser welding phenomena or working is done. There are the active medium is there. In that active medium, we can see number of atoms, molecules, or ions. Okay, when we are given the energy through flash lamps, in that case, what happens? These atoms energize or pumping, and they will be produce some light laser waves. That is nothing but will be considered in the laser welding. That is the protons. Okay, these protons are again will be collides with the another atoms, due to which the number of protons will be created in that particular active laser medium. And there are this active medium is placed between two mirrors. One is reflecting mirror and second is a partially transmitting mirrors. Means this all atoms move inside that active medium, and one side is restricted and other side is capable to transmit that electrons or protons. These protons or laser waves. So in the transmitting mirror, that all these protons will be transmitting in the parallel axis of this particular laser medium, and will be strike on the one of the lens. Okay, and due to that lens, all beams which directly attack on that particular lens will be concentrated particular beam concentrated at particular level, so that whatever the welding portion is there is a point load will be created, and that point load there is a high heat will be generated in that particular point load. Next slide. The same will be explained in this particular laser generation. Okay, next. Here, what is the necessity of this simulation is, okay, most of the experiment we can perform a lot of time is required to conduct that experiments. So in that case, mathematical calculation, and on that mathematical calculation, we will be use softwares. In that software, we can find out or analysis whatever the results getting from the mathematical calculation, that results are very close to that particular analytical calculations will be matched. And if the results are very good, so it is better we have getting the chance to go for the further experimental. Next, there are a number of applications related with this welding. Most of the industries there we are using this particular welding technology. Next slide. Here we are using a different types of lasers. In that particular my paper, we will be using the laser that is a fiber laser. The wavelength is 1.07 micron, and with the speed, if you are considering, that is more high efficiency speed will be reached in the particular that laser beam. Next slide. Okay, there are different parameters which will become considered in this laser welding. So with these parameters and what are the outputs, that we will be generally we will be considering in this simulation. Here we can consider the parameters like focal points, laser power, and shield weld. Means laser power, welding speed, and focal point position. These are the input parameters for my simulations. And what are the outputs we are getting in terms of tensile strength, weld width, that we will be finally find out in the simulation. These results we can calculate with the mathematical or experimental method. That results are perfectly matched with this software that we will be generally simulate in this particular software or in this particular paper. Next slide. There are a number of literatures are there. So I'm shortly, next slide. Next slide. So here most of the works is done, the material which is they are using, that is above 1 mm. So we are concentrated the material which is in millimeters, in microns. That such type of material we are preferring here. And on that material we are find out this parametric simulation, parametric optimizations and simulations on that material. Next. For the simulation, we are using the ANSYS software, finite element method we are using. There are the number of steps are there. First is the material. For that, we are to take the material from IISSS data, ASM. In that, we can consider the chemical, physical, and thermal properties of particular that material. Here, we are using a the material is SS316, and we are using a three different thickness. 0.85, 0.56, and 0.2. Three different thickness materials. On that, we can study this particular parametric study will be done. Next. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Before that. Okay. Whatever the material we are consider, before that one slide, the material we are consider, that material we have to divide into finite number of elements that we will be considered as a nodes. In that nodes, we can, that nodes divided into number of finite elements is nothing but the meshing, okay? In that meshing, we can find out with the different software we are using. Here we are using ANSYS, otherwise HyperMesh. For fine meshing, we can generally prefer this HyperMesh software. So in this particular meshing, after that meshing, we are applying the boundary conditions, whatever the inputs I am already considered and experimental data we have received. On that basis, we can input this boundary condition and finalize the structural and thermal results of particular that particular welding section that will be finalized here. Next slide, sir. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. These are the results we are getting from particular that software. When we are applying these parameters and boundary conditions, we are getting the results. And next slide. Next slide. Okay. In this particular, two things are there. There are the ultimate tensile state, that is nothing but the experimental method, and ultimate tensile state, whatever we are getting from the numerical, means from the simulation. If you are considering this result, that results are very close to that experimental data. And we can found that from the experimental data and numerical data, we can conclude that the alignment between these two data is very fine, and we are getting the percentage of error, that is 1.75 for the ultimate tensile state and 1.33 for the weld width. That close relations we can found in this particular this result. Next slide. Same thing will be explained in this conclusion. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are going to start two parallel sessions for the oral presentations. So the next session will start in the next room after 5 to 10 minutes. So all the participants, please wait for 5 to 10 minutes. We'll start off with the oral presentations next. And I request Prashant Kamble, sir, to present his talk.
Good morning everyone. Myself Prashant Kamble, I'm being an IT tech lead. I'm working in a US-based multinational company. So first of all, I would like to pay my grand tribute to the indigenous ideological heroes and my warm regards to the honorable judges. Today I'm here to present a topic which has been a subject of worldwide like the role of data science in sciences and social sciences. So we all have been heard about it, like data science, we heard about data, we heard about today's presentation, we heard about like there are many data were collected, and based on the data we have been predicting the things and we are presenting the things. So what would be the role of data science in the sciences and social sciences? So basically what is data science? So it is just a kind of research tool that allows the exploration and quantitative analysis of a wide range of available data, tools, and both structured and unstructured data. So in a simple thought, if I say, data science is like collecting information, and from among all the information, just keep aside or like corrupt data, and only go with the useful data, and based on the useful data, do the predictions and plan the future output. So based on the useful data is depending on our objective. For what objective we are collecting the data. So based on the useful data, we plan and we do the predictions and we do the plannings and other things like. So in like today's world, if you go like in today's global area, the social world is addressed like a data world. So hence data analysis plays a major role in science, social science research, where the data DNA, we can say a DNA like we have people DNA, like we have data DNA also. So it carries an important knowledge, insights, and potential from each organism in the social life. So looking into the past few decades in the social life, if you see, it could be a social, it could be a political, it could be an administration. Data analysis plays a very important role. Wherever we can see in the last few decades, our ideological heroes even also have applied the data science in that time. You can say an example of revolutionary Buddha. What he did, he collected all the data, and among the all data, he just moved the unwanted data of the Eurasians or the Brahmins, and he just kept the useful data, which he called as Bahujan. We called it as indigenous. So based on that available data, he predicted the future like indigenous establishment, indigenous development. We can call it as Bahujan Hitai and Bahujan Sukhai. So from where he got this Bahujan data, he just, among the all data, he just collected the own data, which is useful for his objective. Similar way, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar also collected the same data at his time from the untouchabilities. At the time of untouchability, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar collected the data from untouchable on all over India. So he has found like around 1703 communities were there in untouchables. He collected the data, then he transformed this data, analyzed the data, and then gave a name of scheduled caste. And based on the analyzing of scheduled caste data, he predicted the future that this data should get the fundamental rights. And after every 10 years, there is a kind of collection of data which we call as census. So what does ideally census do? It collects the data. Why this data is collected? Again to analyze on the data and predict the future of those data. So even in the Constitution of India, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has mentioned for in the section of 340 that OBC data should be collected. Even recently we heard about in Supreme Court statement, they came with a statement like we don't have the empirical data for OBC people, for Maratha people. So anyways, anywhere if you go in social life, we see data is there among the important part of life, of the social life. So the data is been collected and based on that the future has been predicted. So this has been done with our ideological hero. So if you're coming for the worldwide area, if you go, you must be knowing about a story about Britain. If you heard about Brexit. So Brexit is like Britain exit. So previously Britain was supposed to be a part of the European Union. And there was some group who wants Britain to be separated from the European Union. They want the Britain to have a separate identity. And there was one group who don't want Britain to get separate from the European Union. So what happened? The group which want Britain to be a separate union from the European Union, they collected the data for those people who are wanting this Britain to be a part of European Union. And then they ran a fake ad. A fake campaign they did on Facebook and all social media, that very soon Turkey will be going to be a part of European Union. So there was a rule among the countries among the European Union. If the countries are coming among the European Union, there is no kind of visa applied. You can travel from one country to another country within the European Union. Like you can travel from France to England, you can travel from France to Portugal. So when this ad been ran up, among those data who wants Britain to be a part of European Union, the ad was like Turkey will be going to be a part of Britain Union, and Britain being a racist country, so they don't want Muslims to be the part of European Union. So what will happen? This Turkey is a Muslim country, so Muslim can easily travel in all the European countries without any visa. So this way, the mind has been changed of those who want Britain to be a part of European Union. That if Turkey will be going to part, that we don't want Britain to be part of European Union. So this way, the people who are working on Britain not to be part of Union, just based on data science, just applying data science, they have made this resolution that Britain will be no longer a part of European Union. And they even have changed the mind of people. So collecting the data can even change a country's future. At that time, the dollar and the pounds was been dropped down around 10% the same day when this happened. It also impacted the export countries, mostly like India, who's having a lot of exporting things. So based on the data science, the worldwide history has been there. So just imagine, if we have a data of our own country, how can we operate our own country's people mind? Recently in 2014, BJP has already done all this thing. What they do in 2014 and 19, what Narendra Modi and BJP do, they collect the data of Indian country's people. Every like, every share on the Facebook is a data. If you like anything, you will be seeing the same content, same poster again on your poster. So they're collecting our data, they're studying our mind, reading our mind, and based on the data, they are actually applying their thoughts. So based on all this thing, the country has been...
1 minute.
Yes, sir. So based on all this data science, our country has been ruling, and our country's every youth mind has been readed and has been transformed. So if we want to transform this country to the indigenous hands, if you want to transform this country to the indigenous idolship, so what we can do? Our youth should process the data science knowledge, and we should look after for this country. So there is lots of things to say about data science, but due to lack of time, I'm just ending up with my smaller section. So thank you so much for IISS for giving me this platform to present myself here. Any question about data science, or you want to know anything about data science?
Have you carried out any analysis personal?
Yes, about personally data science analysis we have been applying in our organization. So in our organization, how data science can be worked. So we have been started collecting data on that.
Regarding what type of data?
Data of the well-wishers, data of donors, data of activists, and data of those organizations who are supporting our ideology. So when the time of agitation comes, we, based on the data, available data, we predict how much funding we are going to conquer in this particular convention. If we have any kind of national convention or state convention, so how much data do we have, how much funding we can do, how much people we can call up, and at the time of agitation, like any dharna or jail detention and agitation, we can easily predict how many people we can gather at a time. So, thank you. Any? Yes, sir. So I can't use. Yeah, tell me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So data itself is a kind of DNA of all people. So like we say, the DNA carries every person's, every organism's information with us. So your data is also carrying every information about you. Every data. So that is called data DNA. So data DNA is like, I just named that data as a DNA only, because whenever you go with any sample of DNA, we got to know about this DNA belongs to which person, from which period of like year, from last how many years they have been existing
DNA
in this
itself,
origin.
information is stored.
Yeah.
So you are talking about the information is a DNA.
Yes.
Vice
So,
versa.
correct. So the DNA means the data is a kind of new DNA today world. Like if anybody is having, if I'm having your data, so I can easily predict your things. Yes, your fingerprints is there already. You've been given during the Aadhaar card. So it's a small thing which you have already given to the government of India. So based on your fingertip on the Aadhaar card, they have all your data. So based on your fingertip, they have everything. Even your mobile also operate on the fingertip. So this fingertip is all been collected with the mobile company also and with the government of India also. So if you're giving your PAN card, if you're giving any subscription, any transaction you're doing in today's world, you're spending anything, if you're having any income source also, every single penny and every single details have been trapped, it's been watched, and they can plan it accordingly for us. Any more questions? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, we have Dr. Abdul Qadir.
Good noon to the chair, co-chair, respected professors, dear students, and others. So I am going to present the topic on the taxonomical studies of Indian Zornia species. The genus Zornia belongs to the family Fabaceae. Please next. Comprises of about 80 species distributed in the tropical and subtropical parts of the world. In India, 5 species occur, but the Ipini and Botanical Survey of India have recorded only 4 species because the species this Zornia xylanensis was synonymized for Zornia diphylla. In fact, these 2 species are different, and these 2 species are described by the same author, Persoon, in 1807 and published in Synapsis Plantarum, Volume 2. Please next. Baker, in 1879, treated this Zornia xylanensis as a variety of this Zornia diphylla, and therefore Hooker, in the same year, in the Flora of the British India, mentioned the Zornia diphylla with 2 species, one variety Xylonensis, another one Walkeri. Xylonensis occur not only in India but also in Ceylon. The Walkeri variety occur only in Ceylon. And Gamble, while revising the Flora of the Presidency of Madras, Gamble and Fisher in 1935 raised the variety Xylonensis into a species level. Therefore, in the Flora of the Presidency of Madras, Zornia diphylla and Zornia xylonensis were described. So later, 3 species were described from other parts of the India, namely Gibbosa, Inducta, and Zornia quilanensis. This quilanensis was described from Kerala. Therefore, the taxonomic status of Zornia xylonensis is questionable and uncertain. Please next. It was during my field work I found 2 different Zornia species from Coimbatore region, one with the red flower and the other with the pure yellow, but both plants have the same similar small ovate mucronate hairy leaflets. When checked with for its identity in the Flora of the Presidency of Madras, I came to understand that this species is Zornia xylonensis. So with this background, I undertaken this study to report the distribution of Zornia species in India. Please next. So 3 objectives. The first one, to document the Zornia species of India, especially in Tamil Nadu. Second, to establish their correct botanical identity. And third, to prepare an easy identification key. So field visits were undertaken in Tamil Nadu during 2019 to 2022. Specimens were collected and required taxonomical characters were recorded. Photographs were taken, herbarium prepared. Literature were also gathered from the data were also gathered from the literature. And such collected data were compiled and analyzed for describing different species. So based on that, an intended dichotomous key was prepared. So the current study shows that there are 5 different species, namely Zornia diphylla, Zornia gibbosa, Zornia inducta, Zornia quilanensis, Zornia xylonensis. In Tamil Nadu, except this inducta, it is an exotic species reported from Karnataka. The remaining 4 species occur. Please next. See, this is Zornia xylonensis, the habit from Coimbatore. See the red color flower with the leaves, hairy leaves. The other plant with the yellow flower, but the same plant. Zornia xylonensis with yellow flower and red flower. Please next. This is Zornia diphylla. See the leaf shape. Flower typical yellow. Please next. So this herbarium specimen, see Zornia diphylla, Zornia xylonensis, very clearly shows that these 2 species are different. Please next. This is Zornia gibbosa. See the leaf and also the flower with these red patches inside, and the leaf shape is different. Please next. So this is the Zornia kilonensis. See the leaf shape, small, ovate leaves. Next. So this is a comparative account of 4 Zornia species. Here you can clearly see that this Zornia zilonensis have this leaf margin and say prominent hairs, which is absent in Zornia diphylla. It is a glabrous one and leaf shape is different. So Zornia gibbosa, you see also the leaf glabrous, but the leaf shape is different. See Zornia kilonensis, leaf shape is different, small one, glabrous. All these are glabrous. This is only the hairy one. Please next. So based on this, I have made a dichotomous key. So now the gibbosa is an annual. The remaining species are perennial. So the difference between diphylla and zilonensis is the plants glabrous without any hairs in diphylla. In zilonensis, plants are hairy. And again, twigs. Twigs are zigzag more or less in diphylla, but here it is straight. And the length of internode is also more in zilonensis when compared to the diphylla. Leaflets lanceolate acute to acuminate, but here leaflets ovate acute to mucronate. The size also somewhat smaller when compared to the diphylla. And the prominent one, you see the ciliate along the margin. The prominent hairs, the ciliate along the margin, which is absent in diphylla. And again, the standard petal, which is emarginate at the tip. If you see the photograph of that, the standard petal, you have some notch in the, but here it is absent. So these are the prominent differences between Zornia diphylla and Zornia zilonensis. Please next. So my conclusion is that the taxonomical characters and the habitats between Zornia diphylla and zilonensis are totally different. This zilonensis is, I think, this is found reported only from the western Deccan region, from Coimbatore only, no elsewhere. And therefore, zilonensis should not be considered as a synonym of Zornia diphylla. Thank you. So this is the habitat. And another one thing, see, this habitat is also endangered. See, this is very near to our Bharatiya Law, Dr. Ambedkar Law College, Coimbatore, on the way to Marudamalai Hills. So this is the habitat. So this is the habitat where the species is growing along with the other Heliotropium rotleri legman, also an critically endangered species. So
one small question.
Please, sir.
While preparing taxonomical key, vegetative characters or reproductive characters are more important?
Yes. I got, please we'll go to this.
I have seen that.
Both are essential, sir. Both are essential. Based on that only, I have prepared the key. Vegetative characters, the leaf characters. Reproductive characters, the flowers, the petal, calyx size, fruits, etc.
Vegetative characters are more considered in your taxonomy.
Both I have considered, sir. The prominent one. Please. Please, 1 minute. Please, we'll go to the previous. See, they go to the key. Go to the key. Next one. Key. See, sir, please, here see. So the flowers yellow in diphylla, typical yellow. But here you have the either yellow or reddish. Flowers reddish one. The another one, the standard petal not emarginate at the tip. Here you have the emargination. Please go to the flower photo. Please.
No, we don't have time. Please conclude.
That's why I told. See, these two species are different. Should not be considered a synonym for Zornia diphylla. So all floras, the flora of peninsular India, the current botanists, everywhere, even though that's why the International Plant Names Index.
Please, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The rest of the oral presentations will occur in the parallel session, which will be happening in next room. And now we'll start off with the technical session. So, we are going to start our technical session 3. For this, I would like to invite Dr. Somkuar sir to please introduce our chair for this technical session.
Thank you, Ruchi madam. Very good morning to all of you. We are proceeding forward to the technical session 3, where we have 4 plenary lectures, Dr. Patrick from Ghana, Dr. Rakesh from Hungary, Dr. Rania from Greece, and Dr. Nitin Labhane from Mumbai, India. So, before to proceed this plenary lectures, it is my responsibility and honor to introduce before you the mycologist of Central India, Dr. I would say the only mycologist of Central India now, Dr. Aswajit Fuljele sir, who will chair this technical session. He is a professor in Mohta Science College, Nagpur, and head department of botany there. He has published more than 50 research papers in various esteemed journals and authored many books. Under his able guidance, more than 6 research doctoral students awarded PhD, and I think 4 research students are working under him for the doctoral degree. He is a coordinator of postgraduate botany department at the Mohta Science College Botany Department, and he has many honored awards conferred on him because of a great contributions and the research, what we can say, research data in the mycology, in the field of mycology, and for that he conferred many awards, and he has handled many technical sessions in the national and international conferences, and many more achievements with him. And with these brief introductions, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Aswajit Fuljele sir to please chair these technical sessions. Dr. Aswajit Fuljele sir, the renowned mycologist of Central India. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all of you. I like to welcome once again to all the participants, offline and online, for the technical session 3rd. There are 4 invited speakers, and the first speaker is Professor Raina Lampu from Greece, and she will going to talk about the STEM education for sustainable development. She is a global educator, Greek Ministry of Education and Religious Affairs, and Greek Astronomy and Space Company, Greece. So without taking too much time, I would like to invite Professor Raina Lampu to start her plenary lectures. Thank you.
perspectives, new contents, new global frameworks, and specific teaching programs to empower teachers and students. So in this way, we need new programs to create necessary contents in order to incorporate sustainable development goals. So sustainable development education contributes to developing competencies in sustainability among students, such as critical thinking, creative thinking, problem solving strategies, capacity to act, collaboration and systemic thinking. And these students in this way will be potential change actors with the ability to shape a more sustainable society. And sustainability ensures that future generations have the same amount of well-being because sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So sustainability includes many aspects such as conservation of capital, stability of systems, etc. So what are the main pillars of sustainability? And the term sustainability is broadly used to indicate programs, initiatives, and actions that aim at the preservation of a particular resource. However, it also refers to four distinct areas. From economic sustainability, which aims to maintain the capital intact, if social sustainability focuses on improving social equality, economic sustainability aims to improve the standard of living. And of course, social sustainability, which incorporates the idea of sustainable development as defined by the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And this, the principle of sustainable development addresses social and economic improvement that protects environment and supports equality, and therefore, economy and society and ecological system are this way mutually dependent. And environmental sustainability, because place emphasis on how business can achieve positive economic outcomes without doing any harm in the short or long term to the environment. So environmentally sustainable business seeks to integrate all these four pillars, and to reach the same one, of course, needs to be treated, each one needs to be treated equally. At the same time, we are at the threshold of the fifth industrial revolution, and STEM is vital. STEM-based skills is vital here to our future. STEM education plays a crucial role in overcoming these challenges posed in achieving the STEM development goals, because achieving these goals necessitates a shift in STEM education away from a focus on pure academic technical knowledge towards a much broader, interdisciplinary and complex problem-solving approach that combines societal and sustainable problem analysis with academic technical knowledge and solutions. Why? Because then students need to learn how to analyze and solve complicated and complex problems, to be able to collaborate in a variety of teams. So institutions can respond to the challenges of sustainability through, we could say, through student-centered and problem-based learning. Steering STEM education in this direction will require educational leadership, of course, and research. Curriculum change should be approached in a systematic way, and this could include promotion faculty development, of course. For instance, we have seen how the engineering sector is changing. So engineering is a problem-solving profession and requires a problem-based approach always to learning. From early school education and throughout the whole education system, science subjects will benefit from a more inquiry-based approach combined with design thinking and interdisciplinary collaboration with other school subjects. So STEM students need to learn how to analyze and solve problems faced by society, to develop technologies that will improve sustainable living, and these needs are reinforced by major trends shaping STEM education, like emerging technologies and also the employability agenda, as well as diversity issues such as gender balance. Why gender balance? We all know how women in STEM are still underrepresented all around the world. and there is a shortage of women in these fields. STEM education focus on these inquiries to the led investigations, to talk about open-ended real-life problems, always in hands-on activities, because these students, through STEM education, will become innovative inventors, self-reliant, technologically literate, and self-confident. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, education resources for inclusive distance learning in response to COVID pandemic, with a view to making STEM education more accessible than ever. So these free online resources provide coding challenges for all ages, as well as mathematical problems and solutions, a variety of microscience, hands-on experiments, instructions, guides, etc. The objective, of course, is to increase the interest of young people, especially girls, in engineering and science disciplines that could stimulate the critical thinking, innovation, and all these problem identification and problem solving skills. For instance, example of this program and in these fields, and at the same time, respond to changing forms of knowledge production and application. So STEM education is the key to addressing the majority of sustainable development goals, and this plays also an important role in integrating humanitarian, social and economic development, and for example, in societal processes and underlying peace and justice. And you know that students who will start their STEM education today will put their learning into practice beyond the horizon of the existing sustainable development goals. Why? Because technology will become more complex and the learning outcomes for STEM education should follow suit, which will involve changes to both the content of education and the method of learning. So any future direction should involve an integrated understanding of complex problem identification in order to enable STEM students to learn the necessary technical skills as well as how to deal with the challenges of sustainable development in relation to their discipline and societal impact. So according to UNESCO, advances in STEM have already brought about significant improvements in many aspects of life, such as health, agriculture, infrastructure, and renewable energy. So it's something that can prepare students for the world of tomorrow, for STEM careers of tomorrow. And according to World Economic Forum, STEM education is a measurement of future preparedness of our countries. What are the aspects of STEM learning? Of course, it should be a lifelong process that includes the experience, the research, and the technologies are important. The broader socio-cultural political factors should be considered, and the students should deal responsibly with the technology. So what would be a recommendation? First of all, improving and strengthening STEM education in school. This is the foundation of higher STEM education and lifelong learning. So for all education establishments, from schools to universities, partners and professional training bodies, they need to integrate the topic of sustainability into the curriculum in order to ensure that all learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development. Second, very important is interdisciplinarity, sustainable development, employability. Government should increase the focus on interdisciplinary curricula, on professional competencies also, combining them with funding models that support these needs. So national accreditation criteria should be formulated also and accompanied by incentives and rewards for institutions meeting these requirements. Of course, investment in STEM studies, because the government should promote and support STEM education studies to develop pedagogy, teaching and learning at a systemic level, and studies should focus on complex and interdisciplinary skills using the student-centered, of course, techniques and online learning. Institutional change embracing complexity. Governments should reward institutions developing new systemic blended learning models. Um, so this includes, for instance, institutions working to change the curriculum and learning approaches through the creation of a comprehensive blended educational models developing cooperation with industry. The role of industry as educational partner here is very important with this revolution. Not only industry but also other societal actors. So such models make use of real complex and authentic problems and projects, including with reference, of course, to sustainable development. So action should be taken to reward and disseminate examples of best practice in national and international level. Educational leadership for educational change, because governments should invest in develop and recognize educational leadership to facilitate and sustain the needed systemic changes in STEM education. So creating a recognition and reward system that supports, nurtures and recognizes educational impact as an important element in the development of STEM. Academics as agents of change, institutions should develop strategies for program change and allocate resources for mandatory academic development together with other incentives, such as teaching schemes for academic staff, community building, etc. So talk nowadays of the rise of sustainability science for sustainable development goals. This sustainability science has grown very importantly in the 21st century in response to global challenges. There are four main trends for sustainability science and engineering. First of all, inter-cross interdisciplinary knowledge, which is breaking down all the conventional boundaries to create a more holistic approach. Entrepreneurship also, which takes the form of techno-entrepreneurship. Techno-entrepreneurship is this ability to add value by generating polyvalent knowledge that integrates and synthesizes theoretical, practical, and policy-oriented elements. The notion also diversity is expanded to mean inclusivity for all, involving not only traditionally disadvantaged groups, such as those who are categorized by gender or socioeconomic background, but also personal characteristics, such as physical condition, ethnic and cultural identities. Enter human ecological well-being, also are very important as two sides of the same coin, because STEM is adopting now a more sensitive, more holistic and cautious approach to human-made changes to the Earth's natural environment in order to avoid harmful and irreversible state shift in ecosystems. The experts of the fourth revolution have told that this has failed because we have ignored the human factor. So in the fifth industrial revolution, humans go along with machines. So here we need to strengthen all types of regional and inter-regional cooperation for STEM capacity building in alignment with sustainable development. And placing emphasis also on mobility of, for instance, engineers, and also the importance of improving standards. Secondly, expand and innovate STEM education globally, particularly in developing countries, and promote competencies for all STEM graduates through lifelong learning and training. Establish diversity STEM systems and encourage young people to pursue these careers. Safeguard human well-being, ecological resilience by promoting inclusive approach and develop STEM professional organizations to support and maximize STEM potential by monitoring and developing capacity in data. So, how STEM education can be combined with environmental education? Environmental education or education for sustainable development is something that empowers people to participate in shaping the sustainable future. There is a need to understand the social environmental issues and dimensions. Environmental education could foster sensitivity, appreciation, respect for the environment. It helps address some of the issues, but also it combats what we call nature deficit disorder. And it promotes sense of place and connection through community. It promotes active learning, global citizenship, student leadership. It empowers youth to share their voice and make the difference, and help teachers to build their teaching skills. What is important is that the education for STEM development should develop, of course, the individual's values, knowledge, and competencies, but it's characterized also by contextual and locally relevant learning. And although there is no universal model of education for sustainable development, there is a broad agreement on the characteristics of such education. It should be interdisciplinary, it should be holistic, and it should be value-driven. So that means that it should promote critical thinking, all these 21st century skills, include a variety of learning teaching methods, encourage collaboration, participation, and of course reflect the three dimensions of sustainable development, economic, social, and environmental. So as I said before, it should be locally relevant, so the discipline may be creative, that means the students should be involved in outdoor activities, such as in the local or habitat. This way they adopt also attitudes such as learn how to be close to nature and to love the environment, adopt lifestyles that respect environmental resources, and this environmental education aims for democratic, inclusive society, where environmentally literate members possess a sense of agency and empowerment. So we need at the same time environmental education framework to promote progress towards sustaining the healthy environment and quality of life. And this environmental literacy depends on learners' ability to ask questions, to speculate, to hypothesize about the world around them, seek information, develop answers. All this is related to STEM framework. We have a set of skills such as questioning, design investigations, collecting information, organizing, analyzing information, and this environmental literacy depends on the understanding of processes and systems that comprise the environment, including human social systems and influences, because students can understand how changes in one system results in changes in another. These all the skills, how to analyze, investigate environmental issues, decision-making, goals, and action skills are a part of this environmental literacy, how to form and evaluate personal views, plan and take action, and of course another set of skills important, personal civic responsibility in order to recognize rights and responsibilities, to recognize efficacy and developing agency, accepting personal responsibility. We have seen some examples, concrete examples now, of STEM education, how STEM education can be combined with environmental awareness. Here, students, this called water project and challenge, develop water solutions measuring the safety of drinking water. So they apply intelligent planting techniques to conserve water in parts areas, testing water and soil samples to help protect the local watershed. And this project includes hands-on solutions through a classroom competition. So this is a project-based competition, environmentally focused, and it offers the opportunity for students to facilitate the learning and at the same time understand the main environmental principles. And also, at the same time, this project, of course, explores water as a global and local resource while facing a local water problem, individual and community-based endeavor. And finally, students create a portfolio, documented their work, and they submit it. In other examples, in California, students developed a two-pronged water conservation project. And they researched, they designed, they prepared a garden with drought-tolerant plants for the school. They initiated a public outreach plan. They wrote a letter to city officials to advocate for the replacement of grassy areas with native plants. And the idea came to students while looking for ways to expand ongoing water conservation efforts. So the classroom realized that they could restore an existing school space that was overrun with weeds and debris. And by creating this garden, students were able to conserve water while at the same time beautifying the school and promoting greater water conservation efforts in their communities. Other project in Virginia, students group choose a topic, then they move forward and they create a board and they get the permission to install 9 water bottle refilling stations to reduce the use of plastic water bottles. Our students here start a collection center for plastic bags. Many activities that combine STEM education and also related to what we call wealth out of waste. So waste management projects also are related to this. Here in Greece, during the COVID pandemic with my students, we implement a project which supported contribution of technology to the protection of our health. It concerns the quality of life of residents of large cities. And this project will examine the nuisance factors of an apartment, the more specifically noise pollution and the harmful factors of the gaseous environment of their apartments, such as carbon monoxide, smoke, and dust. So students created a miniaturized model of an apartment and sound detection sensors, such as carbon monoxide detection sensor, were installed. STEM technology we use was Arduino, microcontroller, and connection port with sensors, etc. So the goal of this project is, of course, to create to improve the quality of life of people living in modern homes and protect the psychological and physical health. And at the same time, of course, it was a interdisciplinary project because it involved physics, technology, mathematics, engineers, and arts at the same time. So I think that STEM education can be easily combined with environmental goals. Here in Greece, the Greek Ministry of Education, where I'm working, I have launched a new project which is called the SWET Purchasing the Earth Climate. It's addressed to primary school students. Why primary school students? Because students at this age should be inculcated these values of compassion, of altruism, of trust, of how to learn to protect the environment. And this project combines environmental education, STEM education, and arts. It aims to raise children's awareness of climate change. It focuses on 5 sustainable development goals. And of course, with this program, children will get acquainted with various ways in which humans intentionally or unintentionally affect the Earth's environment. They will realize their own involvement and responsibility towards these climate problems. They will activate the creativity. They have the opportunity to experiment, create, and collaborate, to solve authentic problems, to express themselves artistically, to experiment with experiential, exploratory, discovery learning methods, collaborative approaches, and strengthen, of course, their environmental awareness. So this way they could understand how it is important to find solutions to these problems, to realize that we all have responsibility to protect the climate. And some of the activities that have integrated is building meteorological stations, experiments to simulate weather phenomena that occur in Greece and other places, measurements with STEM devices of temperature, pressure, humidity, tree plantation, and many other activities. Through this program, our students are encouraged to deal systematically with issues, scientific issues from an early age, and this way they can reinforce the social sensitivity, the ecological consciousness, and their environmental responsibility. Before concluding, I want to say that the founder and the national coordinator of many of the national STEM humanitarian projects implemented in Africa and Asia. The first one is called Water Life Thinking Recuperate. It's about water awareness. To students, we talk about a privileged student in Malawi, students who are thirsty, students, how to teach about water awareness to such students, students who had to walk about 90 minutes to find clean water to drink. However, I integrated this project activities that could that include only natural resources. So students performed amazing things. They performed water physics experiments. They created amazing arts and crafts or mind maps using branches of trees, models of boats, only to prove the use of natural resources because we talk about students who don't have school supplies at all. The impact of this project was great because we managed to find the sponsors and donors from churches in USA. So These children managed to get sanitation filter equipment. They didn't know how to to sanitize their water. Through this project, they learned how to filter and sanitize their water. And at the same time, 6 wells were drilled in areas of Malawi where the children had to walk about 90 minutes to find clean water. And another one was implemented in India. It's called Food for Thought. Actually, it focused on healthy food combinations in case of food shortage. And it inspired 18 teachers who visited slums, educated the families, and donated them money. And this also had a great impact. Many environmentalists and ecologists argue that sustainability is achieved through the balance of resources and resources within the environment. The goal is, of course, to maintain this equilibrium. Available resources must not deplete it faster than resources are naturally generated. Through this project, through my water project, for instance, sustainability is achieved through the leverage of available resources such as an unsuitable water for drinking and sanitizing, but through filtering and other techniques. In the same manner, a food project promotes utilization of available resources of low nutritional value combination, which provides high value nutrition without having, so there's no need of to import foods from abroad. I'm telling you this because here in Greece, for instance, there are many teachers who complain about lack of funding and lack of technological equipment, how to implement STEM projects if we don't have, for instance, technological equipment. Um, I think I can show you how we can do amazing STEM projects if we adopt, for instance, STEM unplugged, using simply everyday materials, even natural resources, and we can work wonders. This project that I show you have received so far over 200 awards, and there was no technology. So thank you very much. This is my message to all teachers who are concerned about the lack of funding. So thank you very much. For any question, I am here at your disposal.
Please come. Please come. Please come. Thank you very much, madam. Very much.
On behalf of the participant, I would like to ask one question. I'm audible, ma'am? What is the status of STEM education system in developing
Hello.
countries like India? Because such countries
Overlook sustainability factor in their planning.
Because it helps promote all aspects or domains such as health, agriculture, transport infrastructure, and this is standard from education. I think that in India, for instance, STEM education has started to be integrated in schools. I think there are some institutions already. Recently I learned that there are some schools that already have started coding, I think, and programming in India. They have started to realize the importance of these STEM skills, problem-solving skills, problem identification, collaboration, all these competencies that I have already mentioned. But especially in developing countries, is even more important because this could improve quality standard of living, sustainable living, but this also needs emerging technologies. I mean that this way technologies should be integrated. We talk about STEM. The role of technology is very important, especially for developing countries, because it can solve issues like I mentioned before about water, how to sanitize and filter the water. So we need these emerging technologies in these countries to help them about elementary issues, food awareness and water challenges. So it's even more important. This is my opinion.
Thank you, madam, for elaborating ESD education for sustainable development, importance of environmental education for students, then environmental literacy, importance of short projects for students to understand problems of environment. Madam has given some very good examples, the type of project which they are carrying out and ongoing international projects also. I am very well aware that the awareness regarding the STEM in our area is not very good. So this is a new type of knowledge which we gain from your today's talk. So thank you very much, madam, for giving a very valuable talk today and very patient sharing from all the participants. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Today's next speaker is Dr. Rakesh Verghese, sir. Sir? Yes, Rakesh Verghese sir is with us. He is from the research associated on fungal pathogenicity and mechanisms in research groups, Department of Microbiology, University of Szeged, Hungary. So I welcome you for this program, this plenary section. I request you to present your deliberation because we are having too much, we are already too much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rakesh. As a research in the Department of Microbiology. Am I audible and is my presentation visible to all of you? Hello? Okay. So,
Excuse me, sir. Sir, your screen is not visible. Please share your presentation, sir. Sir, on your screen you may find one arrow type icon is there. Just click on that. It will ask for full screen presentation. Sir, on your screen itself, you will find one option to present now. The icons of mic and video CCTS.
is it okay now?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. We are getting your presentation. Yes, sir.
So, can you role in food resistance of ecosystem. So, I want to introduce you to a remarkable group of filamentous fungi, the order of Mycorrhizales. They have a lot of biotechnological importance, and they also produce a lot of extracellular hydrolytic enzymes like lipases, proteases, and organic acids. And they are also used as a starter culture for oriental food fermentations. But several of these species, like Rhizopus and Mucosysnoids, are opportunistic pathogens. So they develop this very hard to treat conditions like mucormycosis, and they are also model organisms in various studies. So again, as I said, mucormycosis is a rare and opportunistic infection caused by fungus belonging to the order Mycorrhizales. And recently, the incidence is increasing due to a lot of factors like environmental change and other things. Although the disease is mostly linked to Rhizopus species, there are other organisms like Mucosysnoids like Cunningham and Rhizomucos species, which is causing this rare but difficult to treat infection. And as we discussed, this is a life-threatening infection, which is caused, which occurs in patients who are immunocompromised. And the host risk factors include diabetes mellitus, neutropenia, sustained diabetes and stuff like this. So these days there is a lot of talk about black fungus infection, which is a colloquial name for mucormycosis. It was widely reported all over the media, especially in India. India is being the diabetic capital of the world, and inconsiderate use of steroids led to people losing their lives. Many of them losing their limbs. Many lose their eyesight due to this. So it's a big problem, and this is what we are focusing on. And at the moment, we are only having assaults as the last line of treatment, assaults plus a drug called amphotericin B. But the problem is that the fungus is intrinsically resistant to these azoles. So, as I said, azole resistance is an ever-increasing problem in the medical world, along with antibiotic resistance. And the fact that there are several fungi that are intrinsically resistant to these azoles, which are the only antifungal medicines available in the market at the moment. And there are many pathways and mechanisms which help the fungi make itself resistant to azoles, which are the mutation or expression of the target genes, constitutive upregulation of multi-drug transporters, the loss of function of ergosterol 3 and heat shock protein 90, and there is calcium urine mediated stress responses, and fungi makes itself reduced to drug penetration by changes in the changes in its cell membrane. So we chose mucosal because it's a well-known organism, and in basic and applied studies, and we used a strain called MS12, which is oxotrophic for larvae and uracil, leucine, leucine, and uracil. And we also developed a plasmid-free CRISPR-Cas9 system to do the mutations, which are deletion mutants. And mucosal also offer as an excellent tool for to study the mutants. So it does not require a plasmid construction and its expression, which makes it rather very attractive to do the research. So the aims of our study was to create mutants using the newly developed, as I discussed over here, plasmid-free CRISPR-Cas9 system. And we, after the CRISPR-Cas9 system was done, we proved the mutation through gene expressions and QRT-PCR. We tested the mitotic stability by growing them for many cultures, and in my case, it was PDF, which is a pleiotropic drug resistance gene, and RTA1, which is the resistance to 7-aminocholesterol gene, which are both very important in terms of stress response of the fungi. As the name suggests, pleiotropic drug resistance gene is actually helping the fungi to deal with these azoles. And RTA1 gene is another one which is helps the fungi to efflux, to take out the azoles or any other foreign compounds in the vicinity of the fungi. So we created the mutants, and then we had to analyze them for different properties. Like we used cell wall stressor assays, we used growth ability assays, we used germination assays, and we used azole sensitivity as how these mutants are sensitive to azoles, and also the gene expression, and also the survival experience. So for example, the mutants, will they survive inside other systems which are close to humans, like the mice, for example, Drosophila melanogaster, and also Galeria melonella. So again, talk about briefly about the CRISPR-Cas9 system. We used the Cas9 and gRNA complex to the mucosal without use of plasmids, and this system is based on polyethylene glycol mediated protoplast transformation, and it was very effective in our case. So these genes which are particularly of interest, which are the PDR and RT1 family, in Candida and as well as in the other fungus, other filamentous fungi like Cryptococcus neoformans, and also in case of Aspergillus species, they are found to play certain roles. For example, they are upregulated after the treatment with azoles, and they are proven to be fungal flex proteins, and they are considered as potential therapeutic target in case of Candida species. And there is in other species like Aspergillus and in Cryptococcus neoformans, these genes are transporters. They are part of ABC, the ABC super protein family, which deals with fungal resistance to azoles. So we needed to ascertain functions of these two genes in mucospheridoids for further information on that. So again, we used the genes of to discover the genes of interest to knock out these genes. We had 8 genes of PDR and 4 genes of RTA1 in the genome of mucospheridoids, and we used CRISPR-Cas9 system to knock them off. And we studied after having the mutants, we studied the hyphal morphology, spore germination patterns, and basically how they behaved after the mutation. So we can see that this RTA1 and RTA1B and PDR1 and PDR2 compared to the MS12, which is the parent strain, there are certain problems during their growth in the hyphae, and also the spore germination, as you can see in the 4th hour and 5th or 6th hours, the spore germination is lesser compared to the parental strain, which proves that there is this gene is actually part of fungal survival. So next, we check the growth ability of the mutants in the selective media, and we could find significant differences between the MS12, which is the parent strain, when compared to the double mutants and single mutants, which we created with the PDR strains, PDR genes, and we could see that the PDR disruption mutants showed decreased colony size, and sometimes they are or similar, but most of the times they had decreased colony size when compared to the MS12 strains. And also we checked the relative transcript level of these genes, and we could see that they had in anaerobic condition, which is mimicking the host pathogen interaction, because when the fungus is inside your system, the host is us, and the pathogen is vying, is actually trying to compete for all this iron, oxygen. So anaerobic condition is to describe what happens inside your body. So in this case, we checked how the PDR disruption mutants behaved in anaerobic condition. We could see that there was variations, and the gene expression was higher compared to the parental strain. Next, we checked how these mutants behaved in presence of azoles. There was no significant difference in MIC between the mutants and wild type when we used ketoconazole, itraconazole, and fluconazole, but there was significant changes in the PDR1, PDR2, PDR6, and PDR1, 2, and 6 double mutants. And there was, as you can see, the posaconazole and rabconazole, you can see the minimum inhibitor concentration for MS12 was 4 and 16, but PDR1 and 2 had like 2 and 8, which in PDR1's case it was 4. Definitely this shows that PDR1, 2, and PDR6 plays an important role assault resistance of this fungi. Next, we check the transcript level with using a heat map to combine everything, and we could see that after assault treatment, transcript level of PDR genes were found that the PDR1, PDR6 were consistently upregulated with all this assault treatment, and PDR3 and PDR4 were upregulated in the case of posaconazole and rabuconazole, and PDR2, PDR5, and PDR7 and PDR8 were either neutral or downregulated. So as I said, we needed to check, we need to prove that this works in other systems as well. So in order to compare the experiments, whatever we found in the QRT-PCR and other experiments like the growth ability assays and germination assays, we needed to check it in a living organism, how this RTA1 and the PDR mutants behaved inside a living organism, and we could check that. We checked it through Galleria melanella, which is the cheapest and economic, and it survives at 37 degrees Celsius, which is perfect for a human being. So, and we don't require specialist equipment for this. So, after injecting spores into the Galleria melanella, we checked it every day on a 24-hour periods, and we could see that the wild type killed it, and the knockout mutants did not for a period of days. So, which means that the virulence had gone down in terms of knockout mutants. So, to summarize our study until now, is we created a plasmid-free Cas9 system, CRISPR-Cas9 system, which is sufficient to genetically modify the Mucorales fungus, and we characterized both genotypically and phenotypically with growth studies and germination assays and the gene expression studies, and with assault sensitivity assays, and with the infection model. And we found that PDR and RT1 disruption showed decreased growth ability, decreased germination rates, and lower virulence, which is very important finding compared to the wild type. RT-qPCR and RNA seq data and assault sensitivity assays pointed to the fact that they had a potential role in assault resistance of the fungi. So, so we conclude that the PDR and RT1 genes play an important role in the assault resistance of the fungi, and we had an article published in the Frontiers in cellular infection microbiology, which we characterized, as I said earlier, the PDR1, 2, and 6, and their double mutants, which further prove that they are part of this assault resistance, which is a growing problem. So the take-home message today is going to be the new alternative strategies are to be developed to prevent and treat mucormycosis, and we hope that this understanding of this pathogenesis, mainly the assault resistance mechanism, because assaults are the last line of defense in case of any fungal infection. There is nothing else. Now there is amphotericin B. Amphotericin B is a very hard drug, which with a lot of side effects. So assault resistance in fungi is going to be a serious problem in the coming days, owing to the environmental changes, and this fungi can thrive in any environment, and this is going to be a problem. And India being the capital of diabetes and stuff, we need new understanding of the host defense, developing new diagnostic tools, and creating better therapeutic interventions, so that the clinical outcome of this devastating disease may improve. At the moment, it's either you lose a part of your body which is infected by the fungus, So it is important that we find new strategies. Today I wanted to thank organizers for this wonderful opportunity to be here in this conference and in this presentation. I am thankful for the support given by the MTA, Lendulet, Fungal Pathogens Mechanism Research Group. I would like to thank Professor Shabab Albolgi to allow me to start my work the Department of Microbiology. My supervisors, Dr. Ramesh, Dr. Yabarnoj, and my lab mate, Dr. Chula Sekalian, for their unlimited support. And last but not least, I would like to thank all of you for your kind attention and time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for a very important topic which you are working on, because in the recent pandemic, which was a havoc of mycosis in our country, and definitely such kind of a leading work which is going on, and you have shown very successfully that mycosis can be tackled by handling this ADR and RAT1 gene. I like to ask one small question, that whether new molecules can be used or discovered to handle such type of infection. Is it possible that
The new plant particles and new microbial chemicals, which are antifungal. So of course definitely there is a chance to find new molecules, to discover new molecules, new chemicals which can actually inhibit fungus. So this is the trend these days, to find new plant based molecules, microbial based molecules. So definitely there is a chance. There's definitely a way to stop this fungus. Definitely.
Thank you very much for your answer. Thanks once again, sir, for showing how to and showing the methodology how to tackle such genes, and by using state-of-art technology and new using CRISPR-Cas technology. It's a very recent technology. This exposure is definitely a very new and very good experience for the listeners also. Thank you very much, sir, for well nice delivery. For this technical session, the third speaker is Dr. Patrick. I am audible to you, sir? Yes. Dr. Patrick, sir. Hello. नहीं था ना? Okay. Okay, we can start with the fourth deliberation by inviting Dr. Nitin Labhane, sir. Dr. Nitin Labhane, sir, Professor and Dean R&D, Department of Bhavans College, Autonomous, University, Mumbai, India. He is one of the product from this university, Nagpur University, and very talented and dynamic personality, which we always very enthusiastic to meet him and to listen about him. He is working on various aspects of embryology, and that too at a molecular level. So today he is going to deliver talk on embryo endosperm relationship, the key to food security, one of the very good aspect.
and I hope from his detailed study, the embryologist or the plant, those who are interested in the study of botany or a plant, they will able to understand how a big problem can be tackled by a very small but very sophisticated modifications. Now, without taking too much time, I like to invite Dr. Nitin Labhane sir to deliver his talk.
A very good morning to you all. I first like to thank the double I, triple S. Okay. Fine. Once again, I like to thank the. I like to thank the double I and triple S society for giving me the opportunity to speak on the embryo-endosperm relationship, the key to food security. How is it? Okay, okay, fine. Whatever I am today, the credit goes to, like what Dr. Ashwadit sir said, that it goes to my department. It goes to my department. Because of this department only, I could go to several times to Hungary, Europe, to do my postdoc also and keep on going there, my collaborative research. Okay. Now, when we talk of the embryo-endosome relationship, and then I'm trying to couple it with the key to food security. To start with, if we try to look at the Millennium Goal, sustainable goal given by United Nations, we understand that the first two goals itself talk about the hunger eradication and the power eradication. And we know that 80% of the countries across the globe, they are facing one or the other kind of, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. Yeah. So one or the other kind of crisis, right? If you can see on the screen, you can see the crisis which everybody knows that regarding the continent of Africa, and it gives us it's a glimpse that why the United Nations is talking much on the food security. Right. Now, if we go to the next slide, we understand, I don't know whether you are able to see the slide or not, but when we try to go to the next slide, we'll find that you might be saying that, okay, the African subcontinents are known for having food crisis and all, but if you try to see the very recent thing, that has happened in Sri Lanka, we understand what could happen if the change is brought in no time, right? Because one of the reason why Sri Lankan crisis happened, because of a sudden change of shifting of farming from an inorganic use of inorganic farming to an organic kind of an farming, where the food production has dwindled to such an extent that the cost of rice, of 1 kg rice, it was approximately around 10 times more, which the common people cannot afford it, right? So what I'm trying to link out here is that how does the food crisis, right, and the food security, right, are related to one another, okay? And where as an plant biologist, or as a student of embryology, where I should look out, what kind of an future I like to see, right? So these are just two examples to elaborate the importance of the food security, because all this crisis, irrespective of the government, social structure, economic structure, political structure, we need to understand that we need to take care of the food. If you give the people the food, I think we can have a better earth out there. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay. Now this is what I was talking about regarding the sustainable goals of the United Nations. So the first two goals, if you try to see, the first goal is to end poverty, and second goal is to have a zero hunger kind of a thing. So if we want to have this thing, there is no other option than to look out for the food production, to increase the food production, right? Because the more the food production will be there, the more mouths are going to increase day by day, and how we are going to take care of this aspect. So there the role of the plant biologists come into play. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay. All right, they are just the figures out there which has been mentioned regarding the what is happening out there. Just to summarize it, we will having this next slide, please. Can you go to the next slide? So because I don't want to jargon you with a lot of figures and all. Okay, now look at the malnutrition. What I was talking about, that nearly 80% or more than 80% of the countries are experiencing more than one or the other forms of malnutrition, right? Now, okay, this is all regarding the things which is happening across the globe. Now, we being the researchers, right? What is our role, right? Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. Now, I belong to the embryology group, right? I'm a student of an embryology. So how do I see this thing? Belonging to science, now it is my utmost duty to contribute a small way, in a small way or the other way, in which I can take care of this crisis, right? So how we can do it? Because when you talk of the plants, most of us we know it, that the most of the food comes from the plants only, in the form of the food grains, the seeds that we eat, they all come from the plants. Now when you try to look at the seed as a structure out of there, then we understand that, okay, there is something we call by the name as the embryo, and there is something called by the name as the endosperm. Now this embryo-endosperm relationship is very, very important. Now classically what we know is that the embryo, when the seed starts to germinate, what is happening out there, the signals are been given in the form of the GAs by the embryo, and that embryo sends the signal to the aileron layer, where the amylases are there. The amylases are released out, they bring about the degradation of the endosperm, and thereby the soluble food is been given to the developing embryo, because we all understand that to do some work you require energy. Now where is the energy is going to come? The energy means here the food thing. Now for the embryo to grow out into a huge seedling, you still require a huge amount of energy. So that energy is taken care by the endosperm, right? So what I am trying to tell out here, that this is the very classical thing, right? Now the point I will explain is that here we are just talking of one of the growth hormone called by the name as the gibberellins, which are playing a pivotal role in the development of the embryo. Because if something goes wrong out here, if the relation is just disturbed between the embryo and endosperm, what you will find, you will get a seeds. When the farmer will take the seeds and put into the soil, they will realize that the embryo is not coming out, or they are not going to get the food production in a normal amount. Because from the outside, the seed is appearing very normal, right? What has happened out there? There might be some problems out there in the embryo-endosperm relationship, which is not allowing the seed to germinate and which is hampering the food grain production. So there is how I am trying to link the food security as well as my discipline. Can you go ahead, please? Okay. So this is what the paper got published in International Journal of Molecular Sciences. Just to give you an idea that these are the hand dissected embryos. Now, if you try to see it, some of them are 1 or 2 celled, some of them are 8 celled, heart shape. All these embryos, they had been dissected out from the Arabidopsis plant as such during my postdoctoral studies. Okay, now what I am trying to emphasize out here, the embryo is there and it is surrounded by the endosperm, right? The embryo, whatever developmental stages it is going on, it cannot happen if there is a not proper relationship between the embryo and endosperm. That conversion of the complex endosperm layer into simpler soluble compounds, which can be easily taken up by the embryo, if this thing doesn't happen out, what will happen? In many of the cases, we find that if today, with molecular biology out there, we can just stop the function of certain genes which are involved in such kind of a transformation. If we just knock down those particular gene, what will happen? We are finding that the seed development is normal, right? The outside thing you get normal out there, but what happens? The embryo, because of the failure of the embryo to develop normally, the seed will not germinate if the farmer tries to put in the soil. So that is the point I am trying to make out here. Okay, can you go to the next slide, please? Okay. Now, I will just throw some light on it. Now, like gibberellins, we were knowing it. Then there came the role of auxins also, right? Now, the point I am making out here, what we are studying is that in one case, we have studied the role of auxins. Somehow we know something regarding the gibberellins, then we know something regarding the cytokinins also, and we also know the role of auxins. Now, why I am taking auxins as such? Because I had worked on it, right? Can we have the next one? Because it has got a long history. Because when the auxins were discovered, the human beings thought that this is the only panacea based on which the plant reproduction takes place. But then subsequently we realized it that one chemical cannot be the answer for all the things. So that is how the GA, the cytokinins, abscisic acid, all those things comes into the picture. Can we go next one? Okay. This is all the classical things which we know about the auxins. Just to give an idea, can we go to next one? Right. What we know regarding the auxin is that okay, we did some plants, we kept it out, and we find that the shoot and the root, they show kind of an bending, right? That bending, that's why the curvature test is there. So it tells that we realized it. Okay, that curvature is because of the auxins, right? I will tell you why I am talking about this thing. So this is the same explicitly shown out there in diagram. Can you go next one? Okay. The same thing I told you regarding. Can you go next? Okay. 30 years later, then we realized that somebody said that something is there, that compound that causes the bending, and then somebody said that okay, Peter and they said that okay, it is nothing but the chemical nature is nothing but the auxins. What we are talking of the chemical, because we are not knowing the structure of it, right? Can you go to next one? Okay. Wendt experiment, everybody knows it. That's the curvature test, the colloidal curvature test, what you call it as. Yeah. Then the chemicals, when we elucidate the chemical nature of it, then we call it by the give a generic name called name as the auxins. Can you go to next one? Okay. So that is what we know it that when the curvature is going on, we know that the auxins get accumulated because of the heat, because of the light conditions, and that causes the bending of it. That bending, when the things are bending, can you go to next one? I think there might be a slide regarding it. So when it causes bending, it means that the cells on the other side, they are showing cellular elongation. That cellular elongation is because of the auxins as such. Can you go to next one? Yes, the cellular elongation causes the bending toward the light. Okay. Yes. Right. So this is all the classical experiment just to tell that if you can just collect those particular chemical compounds called as auxins, and you can do the characterization of it. Next one. Okay, this is what I was talking about. Now, when the light is coming on this side, the plant shows the bending. So, if the plant is going to bend on this side, what is happening? There is going to be the elongation on this particular side. So, this particular activity is because of the auxins. Yes. Now, this is all we are knowing it. Give we go next one. Next. Okay, so the auxins is a general term, but when you talk of the chemical nature of it, we call by the name as indole acetic acid, and later on we found that there are various types of compounds which gives the functions of this curvature test, and indole butyric acid, IA, IBA, and different kind of things are there, and the tryptophan is found to be the precursor of the auxins. Can you go to next one? Next. Okay. Now I will come to the function of it. Right, so the auxins, they are known to be found in the embryo of the seeds and meristematic tissues. Everywhere they are there, right? So this is what the major functions that has been assigned to the auxins. Earlier, what we have seen, the function of gibberellins we have seen, that they are involved in solubilizing the complex starch into soluble compounds which can be taken up by the embryo, right? So these are what some of the functions associated with the auxins. Can you go next? Okay, so this is what plants we are working on. This is the Arabidopsis thaliana, and this is the wild type plant. Now the wild type means what? The natural ones. And what you do is that you play with this plant. This is the model plant, right? And why I showed you the auxin, especially because when we were working on the auxins, we realized the auxin can't move on its own. Till now, what I was saying, that the auxin it shows the movement from the top to bottom, right? Where the site where it is synthesized to the place where it goes down. And while it goes down, what happens? It brings about a change. But to tell you out there that there are the auxin cannot move on their own, right? What they require, the auxins require what you call by the name of the transporters, right? Those transporters are called by the name as the pins. They are called the pins. Now these pin transporters, if they are not there, what will happen? The auxin transport will not take place, and the functions associated with the auxins, you will not be able to see it. So that this is as simple as that. Are you there with me? Yes, yes. Can we go ahead? Okay. Now just to give a glimpse of what are the different auxin carriers and what is their role out of it, you will realize it. There are the pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, pin 4, pin 5, pin 6, pin 7. So these are what different auxin transporters that has been studied till now. And if you realize it, you will find a certain amount of pins, they needs to be active during the embryogenesis, right? Until unless these are not been activated, what will happen? The auxin will not get transported. Right? Where they are localized, how they are localized, how do we see it? You will see in the subsequent slides. Okay, so this is just not when I'm saying that okay, only in model plant it has been isolated, nothing like that. If you try to see it, these are all the list of the plants where the different types of pins has been isolated, because it being a model, people are trying to see that whether we are getting such kind of an proteins in other group of plants also, because each is a different species. So the model plant does not necessarily represent the whole of the plant kingdom. Each species has got its own genotype, its chromosome complement. All of these things are very, very important. So all these plants also we get the pins out there. Can you go ahead? Yes. Right. Now, what are these? This is the dominant structure of the calcium CDPK, what we call it as, and the 3 related protein kinases. This is the CDPK, these are the CRKs, and this is the CMAC and the CAMK, right? But we are working on the CRKs, right? Okay. Can you go next thing? Because this is not my domain. I will not speak on. Okay. So what I was told is that this, you can see, if you try to see the seed of this Arabidopsis, it is 0.05 millimeter long. You just can't even see with your naked eyes also. It is so difficult to see the seeds of the. It's smaller than your rye, or smaller than your the poppy seeds, right? And bigger than your orchid seeds, right? Okay, somewhere there in between the seed size is there. So I was told by my professor that I need to. There were several studies were there that had done beyond germination, like bending, what we are seeing in auxins and all. But we were having very less data regarding the CRKs and the auxin transporters with respect to prior to germination. Right, so what I was told that okay, can I do something whereby just after the fertilization, can I isolate the embryos? And that I was supposed to do with my two bare hands. That I could able to do is because of my training in the Department of Botany of RTM NU in the campus. If I had not been in that thing, I don't think that I might have able to do that kind of an work, right? So the take-home point here is that whatever work you are doing, try to excel in it, one point or the other, you will get the chance to explore those particular possibilities. Can we go to the next one? Okay, so this is what we did. So to compare the spatial and temporal expression pattern of CRK, with we tagged it the GFP. Right now we know that this is a reporter thing. So wherever those particular proteins are present, what will happen? That thing will get eluded, and you can see under the microscope. That is what it does. So we worked on pin 1, pin 4, pin 7, and DRS5. So what we did is that we selected certain silics of different developmental stages, because you know it. The moment the flower opens up, it means that the flower is in a receptive condition. Now after the moment by the end of the day, you will find that the ovary, right, it will start to elongate. It means that fertilization has been done. So if you try to dissect out those particular ovary, the gynosium out there is every possibility that you will end up in getting at least a zygote or a 2-celled embryo or a 4-celled embryo. You can get it out. And subsequently, because what we do is that it's a raceme inflorescence. So you would start from the top to the bottom, and you can just label it first day, second day, third day, fourth day, or the first cilic, second cilic, third cilic, that way. And you just keep on dissecting all those cilics and try to see where these your proteins are getting you get to see these particular proteins. Okay, so the excised embryo were treated with propydium iodide, so you need to trigger it, and the excised embryo of different development stages were observed under the Olympus confocal laser scanning microscopy, right? So that is very important, right? Because where we I can do this thing out here also, but then I don't have this laser scanning microscopy out here. So I every year I travel to Hungary to my lab so that I can utilize my summer vacation and Diwali vacation to do this microscopy and get one or the other paper out there, because I don't have this facility out here. Okay, let's that's the other part of the story. So we do it. Can you go to next one? Okay, then now what I will try to do is that show some of the results from my findings out there. So if you try to see it, these are the different pins I talked about, pin 1, pin 4, and pin 7. That is what we worked on. This is what the developmental stages you see in the turn from the zygote to the whole embryo, right? Fine. Can we have the next one? Okay. So this is how. If you see it out here, so this is the Columbia, right? And you can see this is the GFP protein getting expressed out here, right? So since it has been out there, this is a normal type, and we had been tagged with the GFP. This is the pin 1. So you can see that this is the 4-celled embryo, right? You can see 1, and this is the square that is happening out there. So you can see that they are located. These are membrane bound proteins, right? So these membrane bound proteins, you can see it out there. So right from the earlier stages to an inverted embryo stage, you can get this. And when you try to compare it, you do the mutants, right? So when you are having a normal wild type, what you do is that you prepare certain mutants. What do you mean mutant is that you knock down that gene. When you knock down that gene, what will happen? The expression will not take place, right? So what do you mean? It is not expressing. It is expressing. How you can see it? There can be various ways in which you can study the expression. One of the ways of studying expression is that we had coupled it with GFP. If we get the GFP out there, we can say it is getting expressed, that protein is getting expressed. If the GFP is not getting expressed out here, it means that you are not getting good signals out there. It means that particular protein is not getting expressed. That's as simple as that. Can you go to next one? Okay. So this is regarding the pin 1. I think this is regarding the pin 1 again, right? Again, you can see the heat maps has been generated for this, and you can see the localization of all those proteins from the earlier embryological stages to the time till the embryo has been is there in a dormant stage, right? Till it will get stored in a seed form, right? Can you go next one? Okay. Right. So this is another one with the DRS as such. You can see again the signals. You can see all these things are been done by me, right? Me and my colleagues, we have done it. So yes. Can you go next one? Okay, so there is a significant difference in the embryonic stage, Columbia wild type and the CRK mutants are there. So this could be very well correlated with the pin1 GFP signal patterning during embryogen. Just compare the GFP signal localization in each of the experiment. If you try to see the signals as such, you will find that in the mutants you are not getting the signals, right? So that tells us how does they are contributing in the developmental stages. Can you go to next one? Okay, so this is regarding the pin 4, the same thing, right? This is the normal one, and if you knock down it, the expressions are getting lesser. Next one. Again, this is the pin 7. These are the three pins that we worked out. So this is out there. Again, you can see this is the suspensor out there, and you can see in each of the suspensor, wherever the membranes are there, they are getting eluded out there. In this cases, you will find very few signals are there. Can we go next one? Okay, the final conclusion is that the localization pattern of the GFP signal intensity was altered in the mutant CRK mutants as compared to the wild type with the GFP construct, right, of the main oxygen transporters pin 1, pin 4 and pin 7. So there is also a significant difference in the intensity of localization pattern of the DR5 and GFP construct. Thus, CRK5, that is cysteine-rich kinases, seems to play an important role in oxygen transportation through pins. So the hypothesis was that oxygens cannot move on their own, so they require membrane-based transporter. We call it the oxygen effluxes. So that is how we proved it. Can you go next one? Okay. Can you go next one? Then we can come here. Okay. So this is what we did it out here with the CRK5, right? Now, can you go again back one? Oh, no, usse pehle wala, right? Okay. So what we are doing is that what I just first said, that we had explained regarding the gibberellins. Then I told you that cytokines are also playing the role. With this experiment, I said that the oxygens are also playing the role, right? What we are doing as an student of the plant biology, we are trying to collect data from various growth hormones, because hormones need, we are more interested in hormones because they give you quick results, right? But what we require if we want to address the food security, right? Because if you want to eradicate hunger and all, we need to have more holistic way of looking at the problem. Right, so one of the key would be understanding the embryo endosperm relationship. So several genes have been identified which play a role in mobilizing storage food disorders. I am talking of the gibberellins. If we understand the coordinate control, what I am proposing out there, because still I think that the day we understand the true way in which the embryo and endosperms are playing with one another, I think that day will be the day when we will be looking out for the next green revolution, right? What we do is that, I know I got some data from the oxygen, somebody has got good data from cytokinin, somebody has got good data from gibberellins and all. We know that these genes, some of these genes are also been controlled by ABA, because you require dormancy also, because we don't want every time the seeds keeps on germinating. Otherwise, what will happen, the moment the zygote is formed, the new plant will appear on the plant itself, right? What we require is that if we can, if we have a more, already some papers has been come out there where they have found that what is the minimum number of genes that are required for the formation of embryo, right? But that is with respect to embryo. What about the endosperm? We still are lacking in that. What I am proposing is that, or what I can foresee is that if we can understand the embryo endosperm relationship in much better way, I think that day we will be able to solve the food crisis. So I thanks at the outset, I thank the organizers of this particular international conference for giving me the opportunity to speak in front of you. If there are any questions, I am there with you. I will try to give my best out of it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nitin Lavani sir. If anybody having any questions.
Probably I missed something from this video, sir, that how you would link the oxygen with this CRK5. Everything is there, but in starting as this.
Okay, repeat.
Okay. The CRK5 is a group of kinases. So these kinases, they are somehow related to the pins. Now, if the pins doesn't work, the CRK will not work, right? And CRK is a multi-gene family, right? And these, if they doesn't work, what will happen? The oxygens will not be able to move out, Yes, yes, efflux. Because they being the transporters, oxygen don't move on it. They will be getting form in the impression of the light, but to move out of it and give the functionality of it, you require pins. And the pins in turns are located, are under the control of the CRKs. Yes, the kinases. Yes, yes, yes.
Going on there, sir. But sir, one thing I would like to ask you. Sir, I have you have performed gene knockout experiments.
Yes.
And probably in wild type you are getting the GBF is very specific for that pin 7 and you are getting very good fluorescence over there in the first picture.
Yes, yes, yes.
And if you are doing sir gene knockout experiments in again in the pin 7, that the second one where you are getting very less fluorescence.
Yes.
But sir, if the gene is removed or knockout, in the sense knockout, just it is layman question that how again we are getting
Some signals. No, on the first one is that if you see, this is all Columbia wild type with the GFP signals out there. The lower one is a GFP with CRK 1 and 5 mutants are there. That was what one of no, possible, because what we are looking is that we are just looking at from pin angle, but there might be some other things which might be contributing to the signal, so we don't know all those things. Yes, we are just trying to find the answers to which we are addressing. Very, very small problems we are trying to address it.
very excellent and very good work, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you for your answers. I would like to summarize a little bit about his work, what he has presented today. It's a very nice and excellent work which he has carried out and for his postdoctoral work in Hungary. And he recently came back from the Hungary, and I know that such type of work which just not shows his talent, where from he is coming, but his excellent experience on working on different aspects of role of hormones, that it is delighted to see him that the first hand information from botanist for us also. Then his work on a GFP signaling pattern during embryogenesis is one of the first type of work in the world. So I request all the audience to clap, give a now we like to invite Gokhale sir to felicitate Dr. Nitin Labhane.
Lastly, this presentation is incomplete if I don't thank my collaborators. If you see in that photograph, that is Agnes Sheplo. So she had that project, and if you see the other one, the down, I am there, and there is a Dr. Imran. So I think he is working in Sweden now. He is doing his postdoctoral out there. Can we go to next one? And this is my group, my professor out there. When he was here in India, we went to Aurangabad, to Ajanta and Ellora caves. So this is all my group. That all this paper presentations or the publications, the sole, I think it could not be completed if I don't get support from my group. Right, they're always there with me. And Gabor, everyone, they're all excellent people out there. You need to venture out and you will realize that there are many good people out there. Thank you very much.
Very nice gesture to remember all his collaborators. Thank you very much. Gokhale sir.
Thank you, sir, for your beautiful and knowledgeable information. I request now Dr. D.P. Gokhale to felicitate Dr. Labhane, please.
I request Dr. D.P. Gokhale, convener IISSS, Indian Indigenous Society for Science and Social Sciences, and also request Dr. Aswajit Fulgele sir, the renowned mycologist Central India, to felicitate Dr. Nitin Labhane sir, who is a only Indian who qualified, cleared and obtained the achievements, or we can say degree like NET, SET, GATE, GRE, TOEFL, PhD, postdoc fellow and whatnot. So it's a big honor and what we can say, it's a dignified moment for all of us to felicitate such a great scholar in India. So on behalf of IISS and on behalf of organizing team of this transdisciplinary interdisciplinary conference, I request Dr. Gokhale sir and Dr. Fulgale sir to felicitate him with the memento as a token of love and appreciation.
त्याच्यानंतर काय आहे आता लंच ब्रेक. So thank you very much all participants. Now there will be a lunch break and after that the last session and valedictory function will be taken. Thank you very much.